I look a bit different than a German soldier because I forgot my uniform. For now, we still can stream what I'm showing and saying, but when I start talking about secret stuff, then I will tell you to stop.
You see the reaction on the screen. They're listening hard, Mark.
So there will be only one crypt, not two crypts. I will start with the crypt. What we have sent already. So we are using an emulator or simulator of Enigma. There are many available. I will be using the emulator available for a PC. There are also emulators for mobile phones or smartphones. By the way, during the break, this is particularly for the students, you can try to prepare your own messages and send them to Bletchley Park. I prepared a short guide how to do it. Also, Enigma settings are listed there, so do not scan them and send to Paul. And I will also assist you if you are interested. But this will be after the talk. Coming back to the crypt. Our Hi Hitler message or nothing to report was the name of the Congress, Einzig World Computer Congress. Then we had to reformat it. Different procedures were used by the Germans. Sometimes, for example, they just omitted the spaces. We decided to replace the spaces with X's, and then we used double Y as the full stop or end of the message. So this is the formatted plain text, so you can read it, but this is the text that I encoded. For the encoding, not only the Enigma key was to be set, but also for each individual message, a separate message key had to be chosen. I will not show it because that would help decrypting. I will show the message key for that real message when we stop streaming. And then I can show you the encrypted message, what we have sent as a crypt. So you can see the header here. So this is the starting position of wheels. I will show that on an emulator. And then there is an encrypted message key. This is the second group of letters. And after that, we have the real encrypted message. The message is grouped into groups of 4 letters. This was used by the Navy, I believe. Other types of German forces use groupings into 5 letters. So it looks more pretty, but it's probably also easier to copy, to count letters, and so on. And also you are certain that the spaces do not correspond to the spaces between actual words in the source text. So this is what we have sent. How realistic it is, how much does it resemble real messages? Well, in real life, some extra information was added. For example, during the war, they had to add some code, an extra group of letters indicating from which day the message was. Because sometimes the messages were received from, let's say, yesterday, the day before, and then they were produced with different settings. For us, the war only lasts 1 day, so. But my voice will still be streamed, so I have to be careful not to read what I'm showing. Okay? So can I move to secret stuff? Confirm? Yes, I can. Okay. So now I have another set of slides with the secret message.
Good morning, Poznan. And good morning also to those who are following us on live stream. Welcome to the National Museum of Computing and the Turing Welchman Bomb Rebuild Project. We're going to set the bomb going in a moment. We actually have your message, of course, and the menu is duly plugged up on the back of the bomb, which I hope will now be shown. It looks like sort of plaited red spaghetti. John, can you switch cameras, please?
Okay, so our British colleagues are ready to present their results. So maybe we should switch to their screen and show it on. I can do it.
So there you actually see the menu plugged up, and it's actually ready to roll. So we'll switch on for you in a moment, and you'll be able to then see the inside of the machine working. ready to go. Machine fully working, albeit as was explained at slightly slow speed. I'm just looking at
Our video off now?
Yeah. I think you can say, yeah. You can do your message.
Okay, so we had an interruption from our British colleagues because when we stopped screaming my screen, we started screaming the screen from Bletchley Park, and they thought it's their turn to talk. Okay, so I will go back to the secret message. The message which I selected is this one. Roger is laughing. I cannot read it, but for those of you who do not recognize this phrase, I encourage you to Google it up, and then you will admit that it's appropriate for the occasion. Then I reformatted the message as I did with the crypt, and then secret data for this particular message. The message key is here, those 3 letters, and the starting position for the encoding of this message key is at the bottom. So let's switch to the simulator and emulator. Maybe I should credit the author. The emulator is free. It is being maintained by Dark Remnants, so it's still work in progress. With bug fixes and so on. This emulator is very nice because it shows you visually how the Enigma was constructed. Because there are also emulators in the form of web pages where you just enter the configuration, you enter the plain text, and you get the result, but you don't see the rotors moving. So now, for the Enigma settings, I have to open the cover, and what you see here. You see 3 rotors which are already selected, and the remaining 2 which are not being used. How to configure the rotors? I just click on one of them. You can see the number of the rotor. They are numbered using Roman numbers, and the so-called ring settings is done by clicking on the upper or lower part of the rotor. So this settings determines when the next rotor moves after the previous one has moved. So we have set those rotors. I'll put it back. What you see on the left is the reflector. So we can also change between different reflectors, also between different Enigma versions, because there were also Enigma versions in use with 4 rotors, which were obviously more difficult to break. So I will draw the close cover. What we also have to configure is the plugs. So I will open the plug board, and you can see, as you remember probably from the movie, that we have pairs of letters which are being exchanged with each other. So, for example, this letter is being exchanged with this one. I cannot read them loudly, of course. And as you can see, this is symmetrical. So let's look for the same pair. Yeah, top right. Yeah. I'm used to regular keyboards. Enigma is a German version, like Quirks. and also some of the letters are in different location. And now we have a feature that was not there with real enigmas. We have a text box, and it's really helpful because when I'll be typing, then normally I would have to watch the lamps and write down the letters, so I do not omit any of them. With the text box, I will have everything ready just to copy and send by email. We will use modern technology to send that message, obviously. So let's start with encoding of the real message. I have the Enigma key set. This were the rotors, their settings, the plugs. Now we have to start with the message key, the key for that particular message. And first of all, we have to choose a random starting position. So for me, the random position is the one that I have tested before the session, so I'll use the same. I have shown you 3 letters as the random position, and you can see 3 numbers here. The numbers are the positions of letters in the alphabet, but this is also a better machine than the original ones. I can have the alphabet shown above. So I will just set the starting position, the one that I have shown you earlier. So letter, this number, this symbol. So this should be random. This is not the same setting for every message for every day. This is random starting position, and with this I will encode the key. So this is the key. You can observe the lamps as I'm pressing the keys. So I have the encoded key. This will be the second part of the message header. The first part of the encoding of the real message, I will be using the real key, not the encoded one. That was probably the common mistake which also occurred during our test. So now I have to set the starting position to the message key. So the original one. Let's verify this. Okay. Now I should probably clear the text box. And now I will be encoding the actual message. It's not that long. Okay, so I have the encoded message at the bottom, and this is what I will send after the headers. So let's do it right now. I can copy that to the keyboard. The Germans could only dream of that feature. So if only, yeah. So now sending the message, I have some headers and it doesn't take that much time. Almost address. So obviously you know how to send emails, even using old-fashioned email interfaces. And here's the message with the header. I will format this message into groups of 4 letters because this is what Paul prefers, but it's actually the same. So I'm sending it. Okay, the message has been sent, and I will close the emulator and everything here. So nothing gets streamed by accident. So still the picture is not shown. I can show what I have sent. Okay, as you can see, this is the message that I have just sent. Okay, so we can go back to streaming from the lecture room, and we will see the progress from Lecture Park and hopefully the message at the end. Okay, so back to you.